12, Maybush Road, Hornchurch, holds a very special place in British karate history. It was at this address, in his parents' garden, that in 1956 Vernon Bell held the first karate class in the UK. Over the years, Bell's name has been largely forgotten in favor of other notable instructors such as Hirokazu Konozawa and Kinosuke Inoida. It could be argued that without Bell, karate would not have developed such a following in the United Kingdom. Bell has rightly been called the father of British karate. Vernon Frederick Bell was born on the 9th of October, 1922, in Ilford, Essex, and was an only child. Educated at Palmer's Public and Endowed School, he excelled in sports like cross-country running and football. He dreamed of playing professional football for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, following in the steps of his father who had played in Tottenham's junior team. In 1939, having failed the majority of subjects required to go on to further education, Bell volunteered for the Royal Air Force. It was in the RAF that Bell got his first taste of martial arts. In 1941, fellow airman, Ray Keane, started teaching him some basic judo techniques. Bell left the RAF in 1946, having achieved the rank of leading aircraftsman cadet, taking a position at the Ottoman Bank in London. By this time he was married to his first wife and was a father of 2. Judo became a major part of Bell's life. He credited it with giving him confidence and helping him overcome a childhood fear of water. In 1948 he founded the Amateur Judo Association with Captain Pat Butler, the author of books on self-defense and judo. In 1949 Bell became a full-time judo coach, running his first club from his garage. Bell was fascinated with everything martial art related. He started learning jiu-jitsu alongside his judo. In 1950 he was awarded the rank of First Dan in jiu-jitsu by the Anglo-Japanese Judo and Jiu-Jitsu Society, after grading in Cape Town, South Africa. Pat Butler awarded Bell his first Dan in judo, in 1952 and his second Dan in 1953. Judo had become very popular in the UK and Bell was in charge of 42 judo clubs. In 1955 Bell regraded for his second Dan under judo great Kenshiro Abe, who had been invited to teach judo for the London Judo Society. 1958 Bell received his third Dan from Abe. Bell became aware of karate when he saw a photograph in Life magazine. It showed a Japanese karate practitioner breaking some boards with a front kick. Bell had been in correspondence with friend Henri Plee, a third Dan judoka, for some time on judo matters. In 1955 Plee sent Bell information on Minoru Mochizuki, who had been invited to tour France and Switzerland. Bell attended the first ever karate course, held at Plee's Paris dojo. The course was taken by Mochizuki's son Hyo, who held a second Dan, awarded by the Japan Karate Association, JKA. The Mochizuki-s practiced a basic form of Shotokan karate called Yoseikan karate. This style of karate also consisted of some Aikido techniques. Between 1955 to 1956 Bell traveled to Paris at regular intervals to train with Plee and Hiro Mochizuki. With encouragement from Plee, Bell began teaching karate in his parents' garden at 12, Maybush Road in 1956. This was the birth of the karate movement in the United Kingdom. These early days of the movement have been detailed in the book Shotokan Dawn, Volume 1 by Dr. Clive Layton. 1957 was a big year for Vernon Bell. He was awarded his first Dan in Yoseikan karate from Hyo Mochizuki and Henri Plee. Following encouragement from Plee to establish karate in the UK, Bell formed the British Karate Federation, BKF, which was affiliated with Plee's Fédération Française de Karaté. Also, karate was brought to the attention of the wider British public when ITN News aired a 2-minute film of Bell and his students, training in the Garden of 12, Maybush Road. In the following year, the BKF opened its first dojo at the British Legion Hall in Upminster. The BKF became a member of the International Karate Federation in 1958. In that same year, Bell attended the first European Karate Union meeting held in Paris, where he had the chance to train with Tetsuji Murakami. Bell invited Murakami to teach the Yoseikan form of Shotokan to the BKF. In 1959 Murakami arrived in the UK, ushering in a new chapter in the development of British karate. In the same year, Bell graded for his second Dan under Murakami. The next couple of years, 1959 to 1963, saw a rise in popularity of karate and an increase in membership of the BKF, with clubs opening across the country. Prospective students had to complete a lengthy application form and were vetted and interviewed by Bell. He believed having brought karate to the UK meant he had a responsibility in who learnt the art. 1963 also saw Britain take part in the European karate competition for the first time, alongside France and Belgium. In the same year, the British karate movement took another major step forward. In that year, Bell wrote a letter to the JKA seeking clarification of the BKF status. He had been led to believe that Yoseikan was the official karate organization of Japan. Letters were sent to both Masatomo Takagi and Hidetaka Nishiyama. On finding out that the JKA was the official body of Japanese karate, the BKF became members of the JKA and withdrew their affiliation to the Yoseikan after a 6.5-year association. The BKF was appointed the JKA's British representatives. Bell was awarded a first dan. What is interesting is that Bell did not grade for this belt. The following year, Bell arranged for the JKA to send a delegation to the UK to demonstrate their brand of karate. The demonstrations were given by Taiji Kase, 6th dan, Hirokazu Konozawa, 5th dan, Kinosuke Inoida, 5th dan, and Hiroshi Shirai, 5th dan, and this changed the face of British karate. The public was blown away by the technical expertise demonstrated by the JKA instructors. Bell arranged for Konozawa to stay in the UK and teach for a year. There was a marked difference in Konozawa's approach to teaching compared to that of Murakami. There are many anecdotes from students who practiced with Konozawa at this time. Shotokan Dawn, The Konozawa Years by Dr. Clive Layton. What is also interesting is that all gradings from Murakami were rescinded and students had to regrade. 1966 marked the beginning of the end for the BKF's association with the JKA. Konozawa's contract with the BKF ended and was not renewed. Bell invited Murakami to resume his teaching. However, some of the students did not want this as they preferred the JKA's approach to teaching. A meeting was organized by Bell in response to a request from some of the senior BKF members, mainly from the London and Liverpool dojos, at the Admiral Napier pub. The meeting was lively, with a lot of the senior students expressing a wish to continue training with Konozawa and the JKA. Subsequently, this led to a split in the BKF. The Karate Union of Great Britain, KUGB, was formed, with around 2/3 of the BKF membership moving to the new association. After 10 years of being at the head of the main karate association in the UK, Bell had lost control of the direction karate would take. Feeling bitter and betrayed, especially by the JKA, Bell took the remnants of the BKF and severed ties with the JKA, returning back to the Yoseikan style of Shotokan karate. It should be noted that Bell acknowledged that the split was not because of disloyalty to him but rather because of the admiration members had for Konozawa and his method of teaching. Bell eventually went back to his first love of jiu-jitsu. By the time of his death, he had achieved the rank of 10th dan in jiu-jitsu. Vernon Bell died on the 27th of February, 2004. It is fair to say that he can be called the father of British karate. Without his driving force, it would have been years before karate made its way to the UK. It is a shame that his name has mostly become a footnote in the history of British karate and is not as widely known as it should be.